In a small town surrounded by green hills and serenity, lived Olivia, a 35-year-old violinist. Her world was one of the most sublime sounds, but for her, silence was her only reality. Since she was young, Olivia had been passionate about music, but a car accident had robbed her of her hearing. Despite her condition, she did not give up on playing the violin. Over time, she learned to feel the music through the vibrations of the strings and the wood of her instrument, creating a unique connection with the art she loved. Olivia also dedicated herself to learning sign language, which helped her communicate with the people around her. Although her ability to play the violin was admired by many, society viewed her as an outsider, an artist who could not hear what she created. The criticism and pitying glances followed her at every performance, but she persisted, determined to show that her music was as beautiful as any other. In another part of town, Julian, a 41-year-old composer, lived reclusively in his home. After the death of his wife, who had been his greatest supporter, he lost the will to compose. Grief consumed him, and the music that once flowed from his soul had become a distant memory. He spent his days locked away in his studio, surrounded by unfinished scores and suffocating solitude. One morning, while Olivia was performing in a small town square, her vibrant notes echoed through the air. Julian, who was at home, heard those melodies through the vibrations that traveled through the walls. Without knowing why, he felt compelled to go out and follow the music. When he arrived at the square, he saw Olivia playing with a passion he had not felt in years. Even without hearing, he could see the emotion on her face and the dedication in every movement of her hands. Olivia, noticing the presence of an audience member, looked at Julian and, instead of feeling intimidated, smiled. Something in his gaze made her feel that he understood, in some way, what it was like to live in a world without sound. After the performance, Julian approached her. "You play as if you could hear the music," he said, awed. Olivia smiled and, using sign language, replied, "I feel the music." Julian, intrigued, asked her to teach him some basic words, and thus began their communication. From that day on, Julian and Olivia formed an unlikely friendship. They met regularly, where Olivia shared her experiences as a deaf violinist, and Julian spoke about his life as a composer. He began to open up to her, revealing how music had been his life before losing his wife. Olivia, in turn, found in Julian a friend who understood her deeply. Together, they explored music in new ways. Julian began to compose again, inspired by how Olivia felt the music. He wrote scores that she could play, based on the vibrations she sensed. It was a magical process, where each note became a conversation between them, and sign language allowed their exchanges to be even deeper. Olivia helped Julian rediscover the joy of composing, bringing her own emotional touch to his work. As their friendship deepened, Julian started to feel more alive. He realized that music didn't have to be just heard, it could also be felt. Olivia helped him find a new purpose and a new love for musical creation. On the other hand, Olivia found in Julian an unconditional support and someone who believed in her talent. She had never felt so understood and accepted. However, not everything was easy. When they began to perform together at small events, they faced criticism. Many could not understand how a deaf violinist could play and how a reclusive composer could return to creating music. The sharp words of society tried to discourage them, but they remained strong, supporting one another. On a starry night, while rehearsing in a small park, Olivia had an idea. What if we did something different? A performance where people can feel the music even if they can't hear it? Julian was intrigued. Together, they devised a plan for a special recital, where the music would be accompanied by lights that pulsed in sync with the notes. The idea was to allow everyone to feel the music in a new and unique way. On the day of the recital, the square was filled with people. They were skeptical, but curiosity brought them there. When Olivia began to play, the lights danced in unison, creating a visual and emotional experience. Each vibration of the violin was felt not only by Olivia but by everyone around. People began to smile, some even cried, touched by the depth of the performance. At the end of the recital, the crowd erupted in warm applause. Julian and Olivia exchanged glances, their hearts filled with joy. In that moment, they were no longer a reclusive composer and a deaf violinist. They were artists who had found each other and brought music back to life, not only for themselves but for everyone around them. Through their friendship and determination, Olivia and Julian discovered that true music goes beyond sound. It is about connection, emotion, and the ability to touch people's souls. Over time, they became not only partners in music but also in life, learning that silence can be as powerful as the most beautiful melody. And so, amidst challenges and triumphs, the Symphony of Silence transformed into a celebration of life, where each note played resonated in harmony with the hearts of all who were willing to feel. They not only found a new purpose but also a love that blossomed amidst the music that needed not be heard, but only felt. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe.